Hey, everybody! It's Brendan and Chris, and we're doing the podcast. And I'm pretty sure I just blew everyone's eardrums out.
That's such a manufactured happiness right now because we are both miserable.
It's one of those days.
Our day jobs. Well, not. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're not like firefighters. We're not cops, but we have stressful days like the average working man does.
That's true.
But, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. That's why we come together on a podcast, the Gospel of Pod, and we have a beer, we sip, we relax. But we're okay with having a bad day. We're allowed a bad day, right?
You can only have so much mental discretion until your brain goes, nope, sorry, today's the bad one.
It is annoying because where some of the struggle from, not struggle, again, I sound like I'm really sad and needy, but I am. Some of where it comes from is you want to do this thing, you know, come together in pod when, you know, clear mind, but we got busy schedules, so we don't always have the ability to do it on a time that's fresh for us. So it's funny, the pods take the emotion and take the theme of how we walk in to my apartment.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like I walked in miserable, you walked in really miserable.
No.
You were
That's a lie. I was miserable.
You were a jerk.
There was tears streaming down my face.
Well, I shit my pants as soon as I walked in the door.
I shit my pants too. This is why we're friends.
This is why we're friends.
We can shit our pants together.
Shitting together.
Ding, 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 ding.
Why don't you shit on my floor like my best friend in the world?
And that just happened.
So we get miserable. We were talking a little bit about, and we want to talk about a little bit Marvel movies, but I think it's funny because we're talking about like games that make us miserable. Because I've had moods where I want to just blow things up or have a good time, and I pop in a game that I hate, and it makes me worse.
You just play it to get angry at it.
Right. Or you go, and sometimes even games that I really love, like a level that I just hate. Do you have any games like that?
No, if I hate it, I just won't touch it ever again. I hate it to own it so that I can just stare at it and go, I know I don't like you.
What game are you, because I need to eat a cracker, so what game are you talking about?
My game in particular is Chrome Hounds. Chrome Hounds was a Sega game that was like a tank-based fighter, and it was the biggest piece of shit for Xbox. This is an early game, and it was given to me as a gift. And I was kind of like, oh, thanks. Meanwhile, like, everyone's playing Dead Space, or like all these great games are coming out, and I'm just looking at all of my neighbors going like, everyone's having a good time in my hallway, and I got Chrome Hounds. Nice. And the reason I hate that game is because it is a giant piece of shit. If someone sculpted poop into an Xbox 360 game container, it would say Chrome Hounds on it.
What I don't remember what you're talking about. What do you do in this game?
You're a tank, and you drive around, and you shoot things.
You know, I had a boss that loved Chrome Hounds and wanted me to get into it.
You can tell him to go to hell. That's how I feel about that game.
That was serious face.
It was so
Go to hell.
My first experience with the game was 5 minutes. My second experience with the game was because out of love, I needed to play this game just so I could say thank you so much for giving me this. That lasted 15 minutes. Yep. Then I tried again, this time really giving all my gumption, and it was a mistake because I didn't realize that the game was still in the Xbox tray, and I switched it out for a better game. I was playing Halo.
For me, it goes back to Xbox, not Xbox games, but Nintendo games, because licensing for movie games was terrible. You had maybe some decent games. I can think immediately, maybe Batman 1989 had a fairly decent game for the time of playing. That's what I felt. I thought it was a fun game.
Those games were cool.
But there were a couple games like Top Gun. Have you ever played Top Gun from Nintendo?
No.
First of all...
Wait. You're always saying, like, up and back from the plane?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, no volleyball. That's the biggest mistake. No beach volleyball. Second, no way for me to go, you're dangerous. I want to do that all the time. And you can't, there's nothing good that comes of it. So you play the game, you're like, you're in the cockpit. And they don't even have the music licensing. So it's not even like, I went to the
it's not Top
danger
Gun.
zone.
It's not
It's not Top Gun. So there's none of that. And I remember playing, and I got dizzy trying to watch on my tiny TV that my mom had, and all of a sudden I'm in the ocean. Like I launch off the aircraft carrier, and I'm trying to find, which is just little gray blips, and you're going so fast you go past them, and then they get big really quickly, and then that's a Russian jet, and I try to turn around, and I tried to do a loop like Tom Cruise does. I looped into the ocean, and I died within 2 minutes, all 4 lives that they give you.
See, the good thing about old games like that, you probably could just clip through the planet and surface back around.
I love glitches in old games that allow you to do stupid shit. That's a whole nother show. But I remember that game, and there was a couple other ones too that were weird. Adam's Family was actually a good one. Adam's Family for Nintendo, the first one. Mm-hmm. Uncle Fester's Quest, the second one they tried to do was really weird. The first one was a scrolling side scroller that you had to save the family or Gomez. They ported it to Super Nintendo, which was also cool. Yeah. And it was exciting. The second one is a top-down where you play as Fat Uncle Fester.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And you shoot like a vacuum cleaner at ghosts. And you're in a maze. It was like a knockoff of Willow a little bit.
Okay,
for
like
Nintendo.
Pre-Luigi's...
Right, pre-Luigi's Mansion, I believe. Yeah. And a little bit...
Way pre.
And a little bit like Jurassic Park in that concept where the top down and then you have to go to various levels and get key cards and stuff. Mm-hmm. Stupid licensing for a game.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's still a big problem today. Like, try playing the Iron Man games.
Oh.
Those games are awful.
I never understood why you have a multi-million-dollar film. Take, for example, Dark Knight Rises, because they didn't do any tie-in with that. Mm-hmm. Probably because they have the Batman Arkham City, Arkham Asylum franchise.
Yes,
so
exactly.
In a way, good for them for not trying to mimic that.
Mm-hmm.
But in some ways, it's sort of like, get your shit together. That's a beautiful marketing campaign to include that, like, hey, if you like Batman, play this game, or like maybe have a Dark Knight-esque mission that's in it that you can easily co-opt into it. But Iron Man, you're right. I watched somebody play it, and that's a game you almost threw up because it's terrible.
Oh, terrible. Terrible.
I don't think... Did they make an Avengers game?
I
don't think they did.
As far as like a movie tie-in, I'm not sure. I know they have Avengers stuff, but I think that's more of the old school, the 4-person fighters.
Yeah.
What is that? Ultimate
Alliance?
Yeah, Ultimate Alliance, and that's not really Avengers. Right. That's more like just Marvel stuff.
X-Men. Those are fun for the most part.
Yeah, those games are. Yeah,
they're fun. But like, I remember there's a Batman Begins video game. Do you remember playing? Did you ever play that? No. I played it. It was terrible. There's a level where you play just as Bruce. I'm like, why am I Bruce? This is terrible.
You want to be Batman?
I want to be Batman. Nobody wants to be Bruce Wayne unless they're hanging out with models and they're spending money. Like, if there's a business version of Wayne Enterprises, I'm sure why nobody made that. You're welcome. I gave you that idea. Business school type video games
Someone's
that are educational.
Someone's going to sit out there and go, I've got it.
You have $1 million you can either donate or put in applied sciences and build a bat cave. What do you do?
Bat cave.
And then it would go, wah, 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 you bankrupt the company. Because that Batman doesn't exist. It's the Oregon Trail of economic games.
Oh, that would be cool.
But movie licensing in general just is terrible, particularly for the old Nintendo system and Super Nintendo too. A lot of weird games that came out. Top Gun, like I already said, and there's a few other ones too. One it's not a movie related game, but Captain Starhawk, remember that one for Nintendo?
No.
The premise is ludicrous. The premise is that there's an alien invasion on Earth. The best solution we can come up with is let's take an F-15 fighter jet and make it a spaceship.
Oh.
And send Captain Starhawk, which probably is a fake name,
promising,
into space to fight alien bases on what literally is just a trench that he goes through, and you can blow things up, and it's all very polygonal, hexagonal shapes.
None of that sounds bad. I see a great game.
You see a great game? So you
how
play.
Could it be bad?
You play and you blow up something, right? You play, you blow it up, and then you have to dock in the spaceship, which is the worst thing because you are still going forward and you can't stop your progress. You can either pump the brakes or go faster. But whoever designed this space station is sadistic because the docking shifts like a clock. And you have a little rectangle to go through that you have to fit your ship. Why they would do that is unbelievable.
It's because they don't like you.
Because they hate people.
They're like, Brendan O'Brien's going to buy this game. Hold on.
And I did.
Put this shit in here.
And I did because Captain Stark looks awesome. I want to be Captain Stark. You never see his face. It's just a man yelling at you like, get in your plane, and then that's it. And then you can kind of upgrade a little bit, but it's terrible. It's a terrible game.
There's one level in a game that I can remember hating very much. Lion King.
Oh.
The one where all the animals are really funky colors like they are in the movie. They're all like purple and blue, and he's like, oh, I just can't wait to be king.
Yeah.
And you have to like swing from the monkeys or whatever. I swear to God, I wanted to like rip the cartridge in half playing that game when I was a kid because I was like, this isn't a game meant for kids. You have to be a professional gamer.
I played. You know what game is actually good? Don't laugh at me. Little Mermaid.
I never played the
Little Mermaid for Nintendo. You're as Ariel is always hot. So that's the first thing that I loved about it. You get to play as Ariel. Hot mermaid.
Redheads.
You're welcome, America. hot mermaid. And she uses your tail to flick air bubbles, and that's how you.
That's like your projectile.
That's your projectile. But it was like she did a very sexy shake.
Oh, I'm sure
she was like, oh.
I mean, you are talking about the Little Mermaid that had a penis built into the castle for the cover.
I forgot about that.
It's all of the Little Mermaid section.
Which is the one where Lion King is the one movie where the lion falls down in the sand and says sex.
Yeah.
So perverted.
They edited that out in the newer versions.
It's so they should keep it. Own up to it. You had perverts working on that.
I know.
But you're right. The Disney games were right. I played Aladdin. You ever play Aladdin?
Aladdin was awesome.
I played Aladdin.
Now, Aladdin for Super Nintendo and Genesis were different.
What was the difference?
I don't know.
The OBT Show supplying you with most of the information.
I remember playing the Super Nintendo one, enjoying the experience entirely. Playing the Genesis one and going, well, this game's a big piece of shit. Like, some of these levels are different.
Well, I remember, too.
I don't think it was a port. Like, I feel like it was like they made one, and then the other one was kind of like a, aww.
I played it on Game Gear, Aladdin, and it was a Prince of Persia knockoff.
Yeah.
Which was the funniest thing, because you're going through a mansion, and you're, like, having to leap. It was, like, literally the same concept. It was like, you just jump, and then punch somebody. I'm like, I'm playing Prince of Persia, the G-rated version.
Step on this switch. It'll lift the door. Don't fall on the spikes.
That's literally what it was. And it was so stupid. But did you have a Game Gear?
Yes. I was the one. I wanted the Game Boy in my family. My brother got the Game Boy.
Me too.
So then the next year I asked for the Game Gear, but since my brother already had one, I actually got the present that year.
Yep.
So what was it, like 8 batteries or 6?
Oh my god! It was. You almost had to have like a radiation infused power pack on that thing to make it last long.
Well, because that screen was.
Oh, that screen was.
It was revolutionary for its time.
It was cool, but at the same time, I was like, "Holy shit!"
It was lit and it had color.
Yeah.
They had the cartridge that you could put a TV thing into it, and you could watch TV on your Game Gear. That was a marvel.
I never got technology. That far. I had the case for it, which was awesome. I had the case, so I'd be like, "Hello, friends. Here comes Game Gear." I would bring like Game Gear to a party when Game Gear is a single player experience. Who wants to play Game Gear? You're like, I do. No, me first. Watch me. Like, what? Why would I do that? That's why I didn't have any friends in high school.
Because you were the one showing off.
I'm like, enjoy Nintendo. I've got Game Gear in the back corner by myself. They would find me the next day.
And as this conversation goes on, Sega silently weeps in the corner, just like, somebody like me.
I think I eventually sold my Game Gear case, and I had the X-Men game for it. I had Aladdin, and I had one other game that I didn't really play. I think it was like a racing game or something like that, but I liked it. But at the same time, my eyes would be bleeding by the time I got an hour into it, because the screen was so damn small. The graphics were kind of shitty compared to what we get now.
True.
And not as bad as Virtual Boy.
No.
But it was on par with, because you're leaning down. And I remember being, at one point, like, my hands would slowly raise the Game Gear.
So you could get closer to your face?
So my face, and then I'm like, I've gone cross-eyed. I have now zapped myself, and I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm crying right now. My eyes are in pain.
I had Mortal Kombat and Sonic and Tasmanian Devil. Mm-hmm. That was a fun game. I don't remember what the name of the game was, but it had Taz, and then you had to spin move, and I was like, cool, it's Sonic, but for Looney Tunes. It was a great investment of $30.
Yeah. There's a website, virtualnes.com.
Is that the one where you can like play all of them online?
Yeah, and fantastic site. God bless them. because what they had to do, they had to take down some games because I guess legally they weren't allowed to put an emulator up of a game that they didn't have physically.
Yeah, unless they have to own it.
Right, so they didn't own half their games, so they knocked it out, and they begged people to be like, "Hey, come on over, drop this off." So that's my impression. Come on over. Come on over, internet. That's what the website sounds like to me. Come on over, guys. So they would do that, and I played like Paperboy, Maniac Mansion. Do you ever play Maniac Mansion?
No.
You can choose 3 kids for Nintendo, and you go into a house, and then it turns out you're trying to find your girlfriend, or if you play as the other kids, your best friend's girlfriend, and it turns out the house is just full of space aliens that are planning to take over the world, and then your girlfriend's actually captured in a dungeon, and it's kind of cool because
what the fuck were people doing in
I don't
the
know.
80s, man?
It was, but this is where the concept is kind of cool because there's parts of the game where you can get captured, and then you go into the dungeon, but you can escape if you figure out how to get out. So, like, you really never... There's parts where you can die, or your friends are captured and you have up to 3 people. So, if you get captured, you always... The easiest way was to sort of opt out, to switch to the other guy, get them in the mansion. But it's also point and click based, which is really annoying, because that's old school RPG. Like, you got to put your cursor over the mailbox, click open. It'll be like, mailbox open, and then go back into the menu. Take mailbox. You got a letter. Then you have to go back into your inventory. Open letter. Read letter. Like, my God, can't you combine it to one thing? Nobody goes to the mailbox and opens it and goes, well, I'm done here, and then walks away from their mailbox.
You know, I do that sometimes, because sometimes I get pissed, and I'm like, well, none of this mail is mine. I've gotten the mail for the past 4 days. F it. Close it. Walk away. Hey, you know,
I'm tired of this
how
mail.
I take my aggression out. I take it out on the mailbox.
I'm tired of this
I'm closing you now. You can be stuffed for a while.
so, you be stuffed. I'm out of here.
Nobody wants Sports Illustrated in this house. Ugh.
Until I see one piece of mail I want, none of it comes out. Then you get a note. Please, sir, empty your mailbox. You're terrible.
I got good mail today.
What mail?
I got my little Batman figure that I ordered.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
mail,
I'm jealous of that. I saw it on your
whatever.
Facebook.
I was very, very excited.
I sound like a teenager. I saw it on your Facebook.
That was my bright moment of the day, besides this beer that I'm having right now.
It's good. What are you drinking, by the way?
Let's
shout it out.
The IPA. It's from...
Davidson Brewery in Glens Falls.
Yeah, the Davidson brothers are my friends now.
And I'm having the Davidson brothers, one of their ales, which is right now. We have on tap the oatmeal and the brown ale. We're out of the IPA. Sorry, Holmes.
Well,
are you going to switch over?
Bright light out of my day. Thanks a lot, Brandon.
I have a version of... I have one more of these, of the ones I have. That's a lighter ale.
That's fine. I'll do this one because it's closest to me.
That's the type of day that Chris is having. He's like, whatever is closest.
It looks like beer? Cool.
If it was NyQuil, if it was rubbing alcohol, moonshine, or some olive juice, I would have drank it.
Hey, look, Windex is colorful. Let's try it out. It'll fix anything in your esophagus. Yeah.
It'll fix anything. I know somebody that actually drank Windex.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Was it one of those, like, you know how they have that show where people do weird shit with their lives?
This was you actually know the person. We won't say because we're broadcast, but we'll have to talk later because you know the person that it was.
Spoiler alert: it was Jesus. And I know Jesus.
My dad.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Dun. Good night. So those were games that would make me mad. I think for some games you just want to get right into. So that's why I like shooters sometimes, because you can get right into a shooter, pick it up on multiplayer. Like, I'm trying to get into Fallout 3 again because I love that game. I haven't played it in a couple years. So
I'm actually going to do that one soon.
Yeah, I started it up again last night, but I forgot how long it takes to start. And it's like, Liam Neeson is in it. He plays your dad, which is awesome. And then it's like, oh, what should I name you? And I'm like, I have to pick my name. Like, I don't. This says player name. Like, that's too generic. So I put my own name and goes, you're going to be a great boy. And then your mom dies in Fallout 3. And then it's like, you're 10 years old. I'm like, oh, you attend your birthday party. I'm like, I hate all of this. And I just want to start shooting stuff, you know what I mean? But I got to be 16 years old. And then I got to escape from the vault, which is what I just finally finished. So now I can actually explore, which I love doing.
Yeah, because the early experience it's a big build-up.
It's a big build-up. And those games.
It's very cinematic, though. That's why I liked it, because it wasn't it wasn't long for no reason. It was...
It's a great game.
You got all the feels from it. I felt a lot of feels when I was playing that. Because then I wanted to go be like, where's my dad? Dad?
And then, because there's a part in the game where if you've made terrible, poor moral choices, your dad called you out. And I did that, and I felt so terrible. I'm like, Liam Neeson hates me. He's like, son, You're much better than that. I didn't think you would do that.
Brendan felt all the feels.
I felt all the feels, but it is like, he goes, I heard what you did to Megaton because you can blow it up. And I'm like, how did he know that? I thought no one would notice me blowing up a town.
You know, information spreads rather quickly in the 1950s apocalypse of, the world. Or well, not necessarily 1950s.
Right.
Everything's stuck in 1950s.
That's the best part of the game. I
love the music.
The music is awesome.
Like, just walking around, it's very comforting. And then you're like, well, I just smashed a rat in its head. I gotta eat its tail because I don't got any food left because I was dumb and all I bought was ammunition. Let's put on some good tunes. That'll make me feel better.
That's a game that makes me terrified if there ever is an apocalypse because I know I'm dead. I'm the guy that's dead. That gets attacked by a giant rodent or a giant rad roach or one of those giant scorpions.
Oh, yeah.
They're terrifying.
Yeah, those things.
Some they scare
and the
you.
sounds that they made are just like disturbing.
That one of those games, like it's hard to play that game like really late at night because if you get attacked by a mutant behind you and you don't see it coming, that's scary. Mm-hmm. That's really creepy.
I get the same like creeped out feeling when I'm playing Skyrim. The trolls
made by the same company.
Yeah. Bethesda. Love you. The snow trolls or the regular trolls or whatever, like, I won't be paying attention, and sometimes my peripherals won't catch the things that are going on, and even if there is a little red dot that blips by, sometimes I just miss it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just hear like a growling sound, and when I have my headsets on, it's like surround sound.
Yeah.
So in the left side of my head, it's like, I'm like, no, and I'm turning my head trying to look at, what's standing next to me, and then of course I'm getting attacked in the game and flying 500 feet in the air because I'm not strong enough yet.
That's the one thing that's like that game can humble you. Those type of games, if you're like, I'm going to take on this guy, and you're like, wow, he's way over, but then you're dead. Your arm gets blown up, your head gets blown up. It's unforgiving.
Oh, yeah, no. When I was a level 5, I was like, I'm going to go kill a mammoth. I need a mammoth tusk for this mission. I'm just going to go kill one. Nope. Mammoth said no. And I listened. But my listening was afterwards. I still tried. I threw out my best spells, and I started hitting it with my axe. I was like, I'm going to kill you. And he was like, whoosh.
My axe of destiny.
I don't know if I can get that deep into Skyrim, because that's like really nerdy.
Oh, yes, you can.
Is it nerdy?
Somewhat.
Like, I'm a nerd, but that's like crazy nerd.
It's not like you're going to be LARPing nerd. That's a whole level.
That's a whole nother level.
That's a whole level. I mean, I respect people that like to throw lightning bolts.
I want to do LARP, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be that serious about it.
I can't. I would hate myself for being serious about it.
Because I would be like, I just time traveled to 1992 and got a Scud missile. Boop. Then they'd be like, that doesn't exist. Your lightning bolts don't exist, so I just Scud missiled you. Deal with it.
And I'm just sitting there like, lightning bolt. Oh.
I'm like, aren't you supposed to be dead from a Scud missile? Seriously?
Scud missile takes out the whole area. A lot of people.
Scudding.
But I mean, like, it's nerdy because like a lot of the concepts are nerdy. I'm gonna steal that from you.
Go ahead. Chris is stealing the bottle opener.
And like, I feel nerdy talking about it, but playing it, you don't feel nerdy whatsoever. Playing it, you feel like a badass. However, you like to play video games because you can play it however you want. Like, if you're a person that just likes to run around with a giant broadsword and you don't want to worry about magic or anything like that, you can play that game that way.
Yeah.
Or you can play it the way I'm playing it, and I'm running around with a sword in one hand and my fire blast in the other hand, and somebody runs up to me, I'm just like, nope, slash, and then they're dead. And then nope, when I'm saying nope, is I'm holding my hand out in the air and I'm blasting him with fire. And as nerdy as all of it sounds, when you're playing the game, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Like, they make that game, like, when you're playing Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is a nerdy game.
Right.
If you think about it. Like, the
concepts. It is very nerdy. Very concept. Yeah.
Once you get to DC and you get Lincoln's Repeater, I don't care what anybody says about the game. It's you feel like you checked into badass mode and you're never going to leave.
And the audio for the mutants are kind of funny too.
When they talk.
Yeah. Like, I am having a great day. But I didn't like New Vegas as much as I liked Fallout 3.
Me neither.
New Vegas was, in a weird way, New Vegas felt like a DLC content for Fallout 3. That's how it felt overall, because you didn't really get to explore too much.
It could have easily just been, I got the sound. Nice. I heard it.
You don't care you're going right in with the dirty glass?
What?
You're going right in with the glass? You don't care? You don't wash it out?
Brendan, remember what kind of day we're having today?
Oh, yeah, that's true. We're having never mind.
Yeah.
All decorum goes out the window.
There is no such
There's
thing
no
as
such
decorum.
decorum.
Wait, what were we saying? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Well, as for New Vegas, like it felt like a downloadable content for Fallout 3 because they really didn't do too much that was different.
I would have enjoyed it more if they did that and then tied it into the Fallout 3 story because I love the Fallout 3 story.
And there's a rumor that Fallout 4, we talked about this already, but that Fallout 4 might...
In Boston?
In Boston.
Yeah.
It's 3 Dog. The guy who does that voice, if you're familiar with that, the main radio guy. He is in it. In Fallout 4, supposedly. He did some recording, at least, of it, so maybe you'll hear a little bit of tracks. But I didn't like how it wasn't connected. And then the DLC for New Vegas, because I played... Fallout 3 DLC was kind of cool. They had Operation Steel something, or... I want to say Operation Steel Magnolias, but that would be terrible if that was the DLC.
Is that the one that was in...
Hold on. I think I have
I'm just going to go find it. In the meantime, let's talk about the flowers in the...
Broken Steel.
Oh, Broken Steel. Okay.
Because what I did to save space, because I'm cheap, but I didn't want to buy a bunch of extra hard drives, I bought the discs that come with the DLC, so I never can delete it when I'm not playing and then reinstall. Yeah. So Broken Steel from Fallout 3 actually continued the story, which is what I liked a lot about it. And you kind of got to take on the whatever they call the
bad guys.
The bad guys, and you got to fight along
bad guys with the red
Liberty
eyes.
Prime, that giant robot that you get to play, which is so funny at the end of it. So I liked that one a lot. And then they also had the Operation Anchorage and the Pit was one that was really cool too to play. So that DLC was awesome. I did not like the DLC of New Vegas because it was weird. It tried to continue the story. You go to the National Zion Park where you fight the burned man, or you can either fight him or you can join him. And then there was something with Ulysses. Remember that storyline?
Yeah.
Where Ulysses is like the other courier, which kind of seemed forced because you never really knew who Courier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were.
I never felt.
But
like
they were supposedly dead,
either.
and I didn't care. Like he was going to lead a revolution, and it was just ended up being this kind of emo guy that was like, "You should not have been the one to finish this." And then you fight, but you can. The thing that's funny about Fallout 2 is they build up these boss battles, but really, they're pretty easy if you're really leveled up. Like I shot a nuke at him. Yeah, I shot a nuke at him and he was dead. Like all this lead up and build up. But I'm hopeful that Fallout 4 goes back to being awesome like Fallout 3 was.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think as much as the West Coast is a nice, fun place, East Coast is perfect, at least for the time setting that they have the world in. It's perfect for it because it's more developed and there's more, And
DC was unique too because it was cool to see where, like, what happens when the seat of power, so to speak, of the United States
exactly.
goes. You're like, wow, this is terrible. And, okay, there's some people trying to fight, but there's a bunch of mutants that are also terrible, terrible people that you can try to fight them. And the mall was crazy to play, too, especially when you're a low level trying to sneak around the mall so you don't get caught by mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I never had that problem. I went in high level. I was a grinder in that game.
Yeah, I like to get my ass kicked and explore, and then I like to like level up my weaponry.
Okay, yeah,
and then try to do that, but then even that doesn't help too much because then when even though you might have a really good weapon, you might have the personal stats to make it effective.
Exactly.
So,
no, I just really enjoyed getting Lincoln's Repeater. That was when that game shined for me. Like I loved the game and I was having a great time, and then all of a sudden it was just like, and now the game's awesome. There is no turning back. You're going to play this thing.
You just do straight headshots.
Oh, my God. And it was in full health, and you already got the Magnum ammo because you've just been carrying it around, not knowing what to do with it. For,
yeah.
And now you're like, let's go on a killing spree!
Which was awesome. Like, I loved coming up on gang members because they had no armor.
Yeah.
And then you just be like...
and
that's a perfect sound effect when it's in VATS.
I heard it enough times.
It was so awesome. I would be mean about it, like shoot off an arm first.
I like their metal clanging sound when you were like reloading and stuff like that. Like that sound that it made. I thought that was enjoyable.
I also like how I like the idea of crippling somebody too, like because that helped you sometimes. If you could cripple a leg, then they couldn't chase you. Or
you could like, bust their arm up and then they couldn't hold a weapon.
Yeah, and the best too is I would like to injure somebody so that they were limping and then kind of lead them into a animal prey situation. So I would like get them near like a pit full of those wolves or something like that, and I would just watch them get their ass kicked, and they also take some damage to the wolves, so then I can go in and clean up after.
They don't really give as much experience points for that, though.
No, but it's
more.
You get fun.
Yeah,
you get fun points.
That's a fun level.
Because I'm like, I got you, especially when it's mutants. And
I'm a level 50 at having fun.
Especially the fact that you were able to, like, if it was a super mutant that was coming after you instead of a regular mutant, and he got knocked down some points because he hit like rad roaches, or you got hit the giant, the big scorpions, not the little ones, the big ones.
Yeah,
there was some pride in that.
I like just drinking from toilets that had radiation as much as possible.
It's so degrading. It really made, like, when you thought you did something awesome, you're like, I'm just still drinking from a toilet.
Yeah, it was like I just need to.
And that noise too that it makes is like so sad at the same time. Sad. It's like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I really made a terrible decision with my life.
Stagnant water that's been sitting there for 40 years, covered in radioactive dust. I'm just gonna scoop it up with my.
And you know there's still poop in there.
There's still poop in there.
There's people just pooping. The Fallout. So that's Fallout, and I'm eyeing the oatmeal stout.
Do it.
I'm thinking about it. I'm not done yet.
You gotta finish first.
Just don't tell me what to do, man. Don't tell me what to do.
I'm gonna tell you what to do.
That was sexy.
I got
powerful.
I got really close for that one.
You did.
So there's some rumors out on the street and the movie market.
On the internets?
No, on the movie market.
It sounds like we have like actual connections with the movie. Like, there's some rumors. We just read the same website.
I got a telegram from the Pony Express telling me about some rumors.
I got certified mail from Paramount Pictures. See? Paramount says they're gonna go with Chris Pratt.
Oh wait, no, that's for
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, okay. I thought that was okay of a pick.
I think that's awesome. Did
you see Zero Dark 30?
No.
Okay, he kind of still has that like joking around kind of personality, but at the same time he's very, like, he has to be tough to play the military role, and when they're in, going to Osama bin Laden's house, he's very like whoosh, like that,
and he can get jacked. So if anybody's worried about him not being physically fit, don't look at what he is as Andy Dwyer on Parks and Rec.
Exactly.
Because he showed some pictures of him, getting really jacked, and he looks like an action figure, so he can do it.
I thought it was good. It was a good pick, and I feel like he could play off like an inner turmoil kind of character pretty well.
And the Star-Lord Peter Quill character in the comic books is pretty much like an Andy Dwyer type. Like, he is that guy. He's very aloof, and he's very much like, I don't care what's going on. I'm just gonna shoot it. You know what I mean? So I kind of appreciate he'll bring some humor to it, which I think is key. Because you kind of need somebody that can be humorous and not take it too seriously.
Well, and that's part of Marvel's like movie plans. Like,
right.
You have to have that humor in there, because then people are going to be like, ha 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 ha, I love these movies.
Right. The problem, here's my biggest critique of this next Phase 3. I think we're referring to, this is part of Phase 3, right? Or is Guardians 2?
Phase 2.
Phase 3 is where I'm leery about, because I think Phase 3 is Doctor Strange. They've announced
Doctor Strange,
Ant-Man. Or is that Phase 2?
I think Ant-Man's still Phase 2, because they have to introduce him, and then either he's in the Avengers or he's introduced in the Avengers.
Guardians, Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Captain America 2, and Ant-Man are Phase 2.
Yeah.
Phase 3 is Doctor Strange, Black Panther, I think, is there, and there's talk of a Luke Cage.
An Avenger.
Right, there are talks of Luke Cage.
We can get rid of Luke Cage. Just do Black Panther, because he's an
awesome.
Avenger, and he's awesome.
And they've already made an allusion to the vibranium, which is, for you non-nerds out there, vibranium is a made-up element in the Marvel Universe that comes only from Wakanda, which is the home of the Black Panther, T'Challa.
Yeah, and he makes claws with it, right? Or is it?
He makes claws. Well, the shield is made. Captain America's shield is made out of it.
Yeah.
Adamantium is a different element. That's what Wolverine's. But that's man-made. But this is a natural, super powerful.
No, but
element.
I thought that's what Black Panther uses. Doesn't he have?
He does in his claws. Yeah.
Yeah, in his claws. Okay.
In his claws. Yeah.
Sure.
And the Captain America shield is made out of it as well. And it's always a source of turmoil. It seems to be every 2-3 years a storyline. It seems like they go to the well a lot in Marvel Universe. Like, let's have a villain rob Wakanda because they're trying to get vibranium. It's a very stupid thing, but it kind of repeats the importance of. I think that's the main point: is keep Wakanda relevant and Black Panther relevant. And they've tried to do that in various ways, but I guess at some point, like, I'm terrified that we'll get to a point where they're just going to force feed us crappy superhero films. Because there's two things I'm thinking about. One is Robert Downey Jr. can't play Tony Stark forever.
True.
So what do they do when he's done? Because he could also very well want to be like, make that they just put him in plastic surgery, put him in stasis. But you know what I mean. Like, what happens when either A, he says, that was fun, I made a ton of money, I'm set for life, I just want to do movies that I really, really are interested in, and he walks away. Or two, he becomes too old, so to speak.
Or any of them
walk away. Who do they replace them with, and what do they do with the storyline? Because there's some precedent set by Spider-Man movies, which annoys me, and I don't like Amazing Spider-Man. I know that might be blasphemy to some people,
No,
but
fine. It was okay.
It was okay,
good.
but the problem was I wanted to raise my hand and said, hey, I saw this in 2002 with Tobey Maguire, the same friggin' storyline. It's the same fucking thing.
Except this time it was actually right for Spider-Man, but they had already done the storyline.
I thought Tobey Maguire was right for Spider-Man in 2002.
No. I'm not him as a character, but like comic wise,
right.
And like story wise, like it actually followed more so along.
Yes, I
his
agree.
Life, because Mary Jane wasn't important until I think
after Gwen Stacy, and they never did Gwen Stacy in the Tobey Maguire films.
Didn't they? Wait, who was the girl in the third one? The blonde that he fell.
Maybe it was Gwen Stacy.
I think that was like their
version of They kind of crowbarred her in which out of
wrong.
order. Yeah,
absolutely wrong. It was a huge character defining moment. Now, if they had started that with the first movie and then worked their way through it and not been like had the Mary Jane trip all the way through, I would have liked the original Spider-Man movies more. But they were still good. They were good movies.
They were good movies.
For the second and the third one.
The second one I liked a lot. I liked the second one a lot. I liked Dr. Octopus. Third one was shit.
He was a good Dr. Octopus. I'll give him that.
He was a good Dr. Octopus. He really brought gravitas to it. Gravitas. But going back to my concern is those actors A may not be involved. B, you have, and this is where the fanboy in me gets nervous, because you have movie executives that might be looking at all of Marvel, and let's say they're like,
cha-ching.
They're like, this Kazar guy is pretty cool. If they ever make a Kazar movie, I'm gonna be F you. I'm not going.
Well, I mean, I don't.
You know what I mean? Like, are they gonna do Kazar? Are they gonna do? Oh, I don't know. Like, who else am I thinking of that would be a terrifying option for a movie?
A Hawkeye
movie? Hawkeye single movie would suck.
Stupid.
Even though the character is cool, but it would be a dumb movie. Like, that's sort of where I'm guessing. That's where, not that I'm guessing, but my fear lies in they're going to try to mine everything, and then they're going to dilute what they have.
I don't think so. I feel like they have, especially who's what's his face? Joss Whedon is like creative directing things.
Kevin Feige is the main guy. That's Feige, or however you pronounce it, is the main guy doing it.
But I mean, for like at least for the movies, like he's putting his input in, and he's smart when it comes to like TV stuff.
Right, you're right.
So he knows how to organize a lot of different ideas and put it into a consensus that makes sense over a period of time. So there, I mean, like, yeah, there are some pretty stupid, superheroes that they can do, and that wouldn't make any sense. I don't think they're going to. I think that they're going to stick with their bread and butter, and they're going to stick with the names that people know. Doctor Strange is going to be a little bit more of a stretch, but at the same time, they're trying to branch out into this. We're getting more, the universe is involved, not just planet Earth.
But I also heard they were going to do like Shang-Chi Kung Fu Master film.
Seriously?
Yes, that'd be terrible.
Okay, see, that's a rumor that I did not hear, and if I did hear it, I'd spit on the computer. I'd just be like, no.
Like,
I don't like you.
Awesome character, but they got to do what they do in the comic books. Put him in New Avengers, or put him in an Avengers film where he helps them out in a clandestine way. Don't build a full movie around him.
Yeah, that wouldn't be necessary. I mean, Ant-Man, yes. Ant-Man deserves his own movie because Ant-Man was one of the original Avengers, and I'm
not buying it yet. You know what I mean?
We skipped over an entire important character. It's like throwing Gambit out of X-Men.
But if you look at...
They waited 4 movies to put Gambit in. 4. That's how many
I know you're holding 4.
Okay. Now, and how cool is Gambit?
Very cool, but I would make the argument that he's not part of the original X-Men, so that's why.
Yeah, well, they didn't have Colossus in the first X-Men movie. They waited till the third movie. Well, how many movies was he not in?
3.
So, I mean... They got to put him in. They have to do it, and they have to do it in a big way because they screwed him over. And I feel like Marvel, they're trying to be more redeeming as far as like their stories and stuff like that. They're doing Winter Soldier. That's
which is awesome.
I never in my wildest day thought that they would do Winter Soldier as a movie.
And you've had some wild days.
I have had some wild days. Woken up in different countries. Like, I mean, seriously, like that's a cool storyline, and that's not one that you would think that they would just go, "Yep, we're doing it. That's what we're doing," and be so like sure about it. Like, when I was talking to people, I was like, "What do you know about Winter Soldier?" And they're like,
It'll be interesting to see. I think people will go because it's Captain America 2 or DOS.
Well, yeah, and that's the money making part of it.
Right.
But I feel like at the same time, that's fan service right there.
It is a little bit of fan service, yeah, because they could have gone in a different, more user friendly way, so to speak.
Captain America saves the day somehow against somebody, and
Captain
it's not
America
really important.
keeps fighting Nazis just nonstop. And that was the other thing that kind of pissed me off. I'm sorry, Hydra is not who he fought in World War II. It was the Nazis. But they referenced the Nazis, and then he went off through this splinter group called Hydra.
Okay.
Stop it.
So
I just wanted to see him punch Hitler. That's all I wanted. Let him punch Hitler once.
Because you've seen it animated. You want to see it in
yes,
motion.
And I've seen it in all the comic books. He punched Hitler like, Captain America. And then just punch him right in the face.
That good, like,
You said Captain America. Boom. Then punch him right in the face.
I was okay with it because the same reason I'm going to be okay with how they handle I'm nervous, but how they handle Winter Soldier because you know more about the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah.
So how they put powers that are in play now in our times feel like, are they going to do? They're going to stick with the Russians, or are they not going to stick with the Russians? They're going to do Koreans.
For those who don't
Koreans
know,
like a big push. Or
for those who don't know, let me give a brief history.
Brendan's are knowledgeable.
I'm all about let me bring in my comic knowledge at this point.
Brainiac is here.
This is a real story, guys.
This is why I'm single.
I gotta like what ladies like Winter Soldier.
So
why doesn't anybody love me? Wow.
So Winter Soldier is Bucky Barnes, who in the original comic books of Captain America was lost and presumed dead after Captain America was strapped to a rocket, which is still funny to me. He was strapped to a rocket.
Marvel's Robin.
Marvel's Robin died. And the old saying among comic book nerds and comic book circles was, Bucky's the only one that stays dead. Like, they're not as dead as Bucky. Like, Bucky will never come back. And that was a joke. Like, everybody else comes back, but Bucky's dead. Bucky dead is dead for Bucky. So Ed Brubaker did an excellent storyline where it was found that Bucky survived. And Bucky was actually captured by the Russians and turned into a KGB killing machine called the Winter Soldier and mind wiped and everything, no existence. So they did a beautiful story arc for about 10, 12 issues in Ed's Captain America, where Captain America finally fights and realizes that the Winter Soldier who is reactivated is actually Bucky.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've already gotten a little astray with the first movie because Bucky's an older person,
right?
And I feel like the character was decent.
It was decent.
It wasn't bad.
I think it's the same guy that was playing as Bucky in the first film is going to be Bucky in the second. But you're right. He was portrayed as an older guy, older than Captain, where in the comics it's the opposite, where he's much younger.
Yeah, Bucky's the
Robin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I like that concept because I actually like that a little bit better because there's books that are out there, even just recently, when Brubaker took a break from Captain America because of other random storylines that happened, which are way too convoluted to get into, but exploring their dynamic, and Bucky Barnes was on the same level of Steve Rogers of wanting to fight for America, wanting to be part of America, part of the fight, everything, blah, 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 blah. But admired Steve. So Steve was an older brother, younger brother dynamic that they had. So you kind of throw that out the window where you almost have an equal rivals, which I guess you could play off of in the movie.
Great for movies.
Yeah. So you look at it more of a rival. The weird part is that at the end of the Captain America comic books with Winter Soldier, Bucky is brought back into the fold. And it's not immediately. I think they kind of write him out for a little bit, but he comes back. And he comes back with within Captain America comics. And then there is a version, again, I know I'm going off topic, but
no, that's fine.
In Civil War, which was a comic storyline where there's a superhero registration act, Captain America is against it, Tony Stark is for it.
Captain America versus Iron Man.
Right, you have a battle royale, which is awesome, but within that series, you get the death of Captain America, which is a big thing. Mm-hmm. At the end of it, Tony realizes he was a giant asshole and ends up helping Bucky Barnes become Captain America.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a year to 2 years where Bucky Barnes is Captain America while Captain America Steve Rogers is dead. But typical comic book fashion, and again, Marvel and DC were criticized because they both did time-traveling stories with their main guys where they fight back. Batman died in Countdown, was it? Or 52? Well, no, it was Crisis on Infinity Earths.
Oh, okay. I thought it wasn't Darkest... Was it Darkest Night?
No, Darkest Night. He was resurrected in Darkest Night.
Okay, all right.
But I think it was Crisis on Infinity Earths where Darkseid shot him with the Omega gun. Or this is
hurled his body back.
My mind starts to hurt when I think about this.
This is what we were worried about when we were talking earlier. Brendan was worried about happening with comic book movies.
I know. This is where this is where the fears come from, because in that particular DC story, the big Grant Morrison wrote it. Batman has an Omega gun, and he never shoots people, and I don't like this storyline choice at all. But because it's Darkseid, and who is the big bad, he's the basic Thanos, for those of you who are more familiar with that sort of revealed in Avengers. He's a space bad guy.
He fucks shit up.
Yes, Darkseid is from Apocalypse, a whole planet dedicated to war. Mm-hmm. So Batman gets the opportunity to kill Darkseid, but he has to shoot him. So you have Batman shooting a gun, effectively killing Darkseid, but before that happens, he shoots Omega rays into Batman's skull. But those rays, because he was dying, were magically altered, according to the story, and sent him back in time. So Bruce Wayne is fighting as a pilgrim, as a caveman, as a pirate, I think, and then as a 1940s detective, and then finally, and it's one of those stories where he knows he's trapped in time, but he has to keep going and completing a mission, and then he gets advanced.
Like it was kind of...
Captain America was even weirder, because the bullet was a combination of Doom technology and Arnim Zola technology to take Arnim Zola. Chris is laughing because it's so stupid.
It's so stupid.
Zola, this is such a dumb conversation that we're having. I'm sorry.
But it's a setup for Winter Soldier.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going. In Captain America, I can connect this. There's a nerdy scientist named Arnim Zola that helps the Red Skull. In the comic books, Arnim Zola, who's a super intelligent man, puts his mind into robots so he can live effectively forever.
Yeah.
Arnim's tired of being in a robot body. So his big plan with the Red Skull, and originally was supposed to be the Red Skull inhabiting Captain America's body, but they shoot him with some sort of time bullet, and they take the body and throw it in some time machine, and they're able to phase him out of time. That's the big that's the concept you have to buy into. He is phased out of time. So the body exists, but the mind is somewhere else. So then you have issues where Red Skull is fighting inside the mind of Steve Rogers. And it's convoluted and dumb, and eventually, like all things, somebody saves him, gets him out of the time machine just in time before he's phased out completely.
Oh, yeah?
And he becomes Captain America. But the best part was so funny to me was DC and Marvel did it at the same time.
It was at the exact same time. Or it was...
And they claim, that's just sometimes
other.
happens. Like, you mean to tell me that nobody was leaking that? That they were leaking. Somebody was like, hey, Bruce Wayne's going to be time traveling. Like, fuck you, we're going to do it with Captain America too. That's what happened.
Yeah, and they were inking it like, we can ink faster, come on.
And they happened literally at the same time. So, this all, because I'm bringing it back home now, ties back into Winter Soldier, where are they going to do this convoluted plot of mind-wiping...
Well, yes.
They'll probably do that, but then are they going to even go further with Arnim Zola as a robot? There's rumors he was interviewed because he's in another movie where he plays Alfred Hitchcock, the actor, and he said he actually is doing some work in Captain America 2. Yeah. Because Captain America 2 is... Nobody knows, though, if it's going to go flashback to the 40s and 50s when Captain America is still And while he's frozen, there's things still going on.
Well, they have to. They have to do a little bit of explanation, but it's not going to be... I mean, at least in my head, I don't see them doing that as the setup for the movie. I feel like it's going to be him in the current timeline, and then he's going to experience, some kind of standoff with the Winter Soldier, and then there's going to be an explanation that explains what actually happened, because that makes more movie sense. Like, it wouldn't make... I mean, they could start off with them, pulling Bucky's dying body out of the water and, now we're going to brainwash you.
The only thing I want is Avengers 2 to show Tony Stark pulling out Iron Man. Because that's what it's done in the comics, but they ruined that moment in the Captain America films where it's Nick Fury that finds him and an expedition team. But in the original Avengers, it was Thor and Iron Man that found Captain America because there was a report of some weird anomaly in Antarctica. They find him, they unfreeze him, and then he joins the Avengers.
Well, at that time, Iron Man wasn't cool. Iron Man was still kind of... I mean, we're talking about Iron Man 2 going into Avengers. So we're not going to touch his alcoholism, but we're going to make him drink a little bit.
Which is annoying.
Iron Man, which is stupid.
Right.
If they would have done it right, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
And then they went into doing Avengers. I feel like they did it okay.
I think they did all right, but there's a cut scene from Hulk. Did you ever see this?
Which one?
The one with Edward Norton? Mm-hmm. Where he...
In the bar?
Nope. This was left on the floor, so to speak, the cutting room floor. There's a scene where they had actually designed it where you were going to see the Hulk walking around Antarctica before he got to that little hut in the woods where he was, 0 days since the last incident, then it ticked up to 1. You're like, oh shit, he can control it. Where he walks by Captain America, frozen. So they're going to try and connect it. Like Hulk was...
Seriously?
Where Hulk... by walking and crunching and going, poof, like he was shaking the ice and the snow off Captain America so that he was visible.
Why the fuck did they not do that?
I don't know. How awesome would that
have
been?
That would have been awesome.
They just showed concept art of it. They never actually did it.
Oh, so they didn't film it.
I don't think they filmed it. I have to double check, but I don't think they filmed it. But I was like, that would have been so cool.
It's a good idea, at least. Well, okay, now that brings me to the next part of Rumor Mill.
Yes.
Planet Hulk and World War Hulk.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel fucking amazing about it. Although at the same time, I'm angry because of the way they set up Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, like the good guy Hulk.
Yeah, that's the thing. How do you go? You're going to have to make a really strong change in Avengers 2 of the Hulk being a dick.
Something's going to have to happen.
Right.
Something big as key is going to have to happen for them to want to ship him out into space. In case you don't know, Planet Hulk is the one where Hulk gets sent out into space. But in the comics,
it's different. I know. Do you want me to tell you?
His wife dies, right? And he gets his wife dies en route.
No.
And then he gets angry and then comes back to get revenge.
No, it's something. I think you're right with Betty Brant. No, is it Betty? Betty.
I think so.
Betty something. Betty dies, and the Hulk goes into a rage. But the Illuminati of the Avengers, which
Professor
the Illuminati,
X.
Professor X, Mr. Fantastic.
Steve Rogers.
Nope, not Steve Rogers. Tony Stark.
Tony Stark, yeah.
Doctor Strange, Namor, and Black Bolt. 6 of them.
Yep, you're right.
They come up with a plan where they tell Hulk there's a nuclear warhead in this ship. You got to get it out. You're the only one that can get it. He goes in.
Yeah, that's right.
The door closes. He gets launched into space. Reed Richards says, "I'm sorry, but you're a menace. We have to get rid of you." Crash lands on a planet.
And then you have Planet Hulk.
You have Planet Hulk, where basically
what was the name of that planet?
Scar.
Yeah, that's right. And he has like the armor.
He has the armor because basically
phasing in and out of my
that's okay. It's an alien planet where there's a ruler and he becomes enslaved and he fights in a arena like gladiator arena.
Yeah.
He wins. He fights, kills the king, and there's about a year where he's just ruling the planet, and then a ship lands that's from Earth and ends up blowing up the planet and killing his wife and all his friends.
That's why. Okay.
Then Hulk gets pissed,
and then he comes back.
Gets in there's like 2 planes or something. Then gets back in, goes back to Earth, and then that starts World War Hulk, where he enslaves everything.
Everyone from Scar, right? Like he hit the buddies that he
had something like it was like the Unforgiven, something like that. But
and then they just like beat the crap out of
because
everyone.
He pretty much brings an entire army with him. And then he enslaves all the Avengers and makes them fight each other. And then pretty much he targets the Illuminati. And then I forget the ending of that though.
Isn't that what inspired Red Hulk?
That, and there's also something, I think the Sentry fights, that's what it is. The Sentry fights Hulk to a standstill and punches him so hard that it separates Bruce Banner and Hulk.
That's right, and he goes back to Bruce, and then they bury him down in the earth.
Right, they bury Bruce, and then the Hulk escapes. I think that's what happens. Because it leads into... I don't know. I'm so confused right now.
I thought it like he got sedated like from the experience, and then it was what's his face, the general that's in
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, and he becomes
Red Hulk.
Red Hulk.
And then I think the Hulk freaks out and leaves because the Hulk is now separated.
Because they take like the gamma from that experience,
yes,
and then they blast
the Red Hulk.
Yeah,
they blast because he's able to replicate it in a science lab.
Yeah, that's
so but I think Hulk, the Bruce Banner personality is captured, sedated, taken to an underground base. The Hulk, unhinged from Banner, goes on the lam. Freaks out, goes on the lam.
Right. That's right.
And then his buddies, the space guys, make their own little colony with like a shield in the middle of Nevada, and then they end up fighting the leader and his guys. So convoluted. That leads into Secret Invasion 2.
Yo, crap.
Which is a whole nother pot. My mind hurts. I need to get write down notes in a chronology.
But I feel like if they don't do the Illuminati, or they just do the Illuminati as far as like the Marvel, like the commercial universe or whatever, like the movie universe or whatever, I feel like it could be done well. I don't know.
I could see them going the way of Tony Stark and Nick Fury making a decision and leaving Captain America out, because that would be funny. That would be awesome.
I would just love to see an independent film for Hulk being
good.
Planet Hulk.
That would be that's
Did you watch the
sell.
animated one?
No.
Okay, you gotta watch the animated one. Like I just loved it the entire time.
Don't tell me what to do.
You will do what I tell you.
You will do it.
These handcuffs over here are going to convince you.
Oh. Hey girl, hey.
And then that would be perfect for Avengers 3 with him coming back and then doing World War Hulk. Those are just rumors right now.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of different things they can do with Avengers. They can, fucking if they can get the rights for Fantastic Four, they can have them fighting.
They never do that.
I know, but they can have them fighting Galactus.
Oh, I would kill to see that film. I want Spider-Man badly too. Spider-Man's an Avenger.
Yes,
damn
he's
it.
an Avenger. I would kill to see that. I would be standing in line a month before the movie came out, just going like, I'm going to see Galactus, and then actually going to see him instead of it being a shadow like the fucking Silver Surfer movie.
That was so funny. Bad. That was so terrible too.
I couldn't even laugh. Like I wanted to laugh at it because it was so pathetic, but I couldn't because I was so angry. They turned him into a big tornado and a shadow. His head.
They made him the personification of global warming.
And then anyone that watches that has no idea who he is had no idea who he was.
I know.
There was just a shadow of his helmet.
It was terrible, man.
It was bad.
It was terrible. Terrible.
Well, those are just rumors.
We'll see if they work out, though. Womp womp.
Anyway, can we just get through Thor?
Thor? Yeah, let's get through Thor: The Dark World, which I'm a little terrified about.
With the elves.
Captain America 2, I'm okay with. Iron Man 3 looks awesome.
Yeah, the Super Bowl trailer was really good.
Yeah.
Did you see the extended one
that
they had for? Okay, it's Tony Stark standing there in front of the camera, just going and looking into the camera, and then changing poses, and he's like, "Oh, this is more extensive than extended." And then they cut into the movie stuff,
awesome.
And it was like that for like 20 seconds. I was like, genius, perfect for his character, awesome. Robert Downey Jr., genius.
He's the man. But let's wrap up. We're hitting up on our hour bumper here.
What do you want to say before we go?
I think what I want to say is, movie license games, please stop sucking.
Okay.
I'm still terrified about Phase 3 of Marvel, but I have faith if they keep the principal players together for at least a few more movies.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Chris, your final thoughts.
I want them to make a Life of Brian video game. I would like them to have smell-o-vision in video games.
Terrifying.
And I would also like there to be a decent X-Men/Wolverine movie that has nothing to do with any of the storyline that they've done for the past 10 or 11 years, and actually do something decent. Is that too much?
It's never.
Those are the things that I want. What I want relative to what we said today, them to have a Planet Hulk movie, that would be fucking awesome.
That's your OBT show for the week. I'm Brendan.
I'm Chris.
Have a good one.